Now, there really isn't anything radically wrong with being sick or with dying. Who said you're supposed to survive? Who gave you the idea that it's a gas to go on and on and on and on? And we can't say that it's a good thing for everything to go on living. In a very simple demonstration, that if we enable everybody to go on living, we then overcrowd ourselves. So therefore, one person who dies in a way is honorable because he's making room for others. We can also look further into and see that if our death can be indefinitely postponed, we would not go on postponing it indefinitely. Because after a certain point, we would realize that isn't the way in which we wanted to survive. Why else would we have children? Because children arranged for us to survive in another way, as it were passing on a torch, so that you don't have to carry it all the time. There comes a point where you can give it up and say, now you work. It's a far more amusing arrangement for nature to continue the process of life through different individuals than it is with the same individual. Because as each new individual approaches life is renewed, and no one remembers how fascinating the most ordinary, everyday things are to a child. Because they see them all as marvelous. Because they see them in a way that is not related to survival or profit. When we get to thinking of everything in terms of survival and profit value, as we do, then the shapes of scratches on the floor cease to have magic. And most things, in fact, cease to have magic. So, therefore, in the course of nature, once we have ceased to see magic in the world anymore, we are no longer fulfilling nature's game of being aware of it. There is no point in it any longer. And so we die. And so something else comes to birth, which gets an entirely new view. It is not, therefore, natural for us to wish to prolong life indefinitely. But we live in a culture where it has been rubbed into every conceivable way that to die is a terrible thing. And that is a tremendous disease from which our culture in particular suffers.
Come back up to the middle. Okay, so I would like to hear from the audience first. Give her some feedback.
That's good.
I like how you changed your tone of voice.
It was emotional.
Yeah, you had a lot of emotion.
She made it personal.
I also like how you
Yeah.
used your hands. I feel
It sounded like she was the one who created the speech rather than giving the speech.
What was the tone from her? What was her tone?
Emphatic. Urgent.
Yeah, urgent.
Okay.
She was concerned about it too. She seemed like she cared about it.
What did you feel? What did you want to? Did you express what you wanted to express to the audience?
Yeah, powerful and it was something that you can relate to.
Okay. So their feedback to you was what you hoped to receive from your performance. I have a totally different take. The text is not, I don't think it matched. Now, you can take it however you want, but I don't think the text matched your delivery. Your delivery was a call to arms to try and get me to listen and motivate and understand that this is not right. You shouldn't be thinking this way. Now, if that's what you're heading for, great. The words, I think, sounded a lot more empathetic than the way you're delivering them. What I mean by this is, guys, when you're asking questions, give me a question at the top. You had a question near the very top.
Who said you're supposed to survive?
Who said you're supposed to survive? And ask the question as if you're waiting for the answer. You had one at the bottom, too. like a child, something like a child, making, you mentioned things. Let's go, anytime you ask a question, lean towards your audience, guys. If you have questions and you think if you have a question, lean towards your audience as if you're going to get that question, okay? Well, my thought is this. How do people look at death? What's the first thing you think of when you think of death?
Of course.
Sadness, right? When you see somebody crying, a man's crying over here, right? You go, hey, come on, it's all right, there's somebody else to replace you. You're okay, come on, you're all right, come on, what's wrong with you? Nah, they just replace it, everybody goes, next, we're good. We had our time, we're good. Is that how we handle that? No. Consider that, and consider how we handle it. Hey, listen, it's okay, you know, when someone dies, you know, it's part of the natural thing of things, you know? Consider putting some of that in there, because I think that the writer wrote it, you know, when he talked about the kids later, you know, like a child, you know, really relate to the audience like a child, because we're all kids, we all know kids, especially Victoria knows a kid, right? They understand, she understands specifically how children would relate to that situation, right? So I want you to come back with this, next time we do rehearsal, I want you to come back and I want you to put a layer of empathy and sympathy in there somewhere. Instead of this, we will defeat the fascist regime, okay? You know what I mean? Because that's where you were with this, and I want to see you add more layers to it. I want to see you add a little bit more to it. I sound like a director, I know, but I really think that listening to that, if I read it, which I did, I got a much more empathetic space. I got an academic, empathetic way of reasoning with death, and it wasn't being drilled into me. And so there you go. You can stop the video. So that's just